Okay, I think mine's on now.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
All right. I'm not sure how it works, and I was asking Lou this the last time when we tried to fly. The intercom that you and I can hear each other is running through this radio somehow.
Okay.
So I don't know how to control it. You can hear background noise all the time, which is that's just how it is.
I hear that little.
But what I think was going on here was like he was describing for the notch of throttle, that if you don't have it, then this thing comes up with that air.
Okay.
I think that's what we saw there. So what I did, it was saying something about memory.
Yeah, there was air there too, and it just came off for the temperature coming up. Oh, I guess none of this back.
I'm not sure if that's because it's not 122 yet or what. I'm going to ignore that for now. It's either a low. I think that's just a low temperature warning is what it's telling us.
Okay.
We're not supposed to do a takeoff until we're 122 degrees. That's where he was saying.
Correct.
That's minimum. You could do 130 and it'll stay in there. So I think that's what that is. But the whole thing was in air. And I don't know if there's a button in that hole that you could push to reset it.
Oh, okay.
But what I did was just to power off. And then once it's already running, then I throttled it up a little bit and turned it back on.
Reset everything.
So then it came up okay. So
this is engine RPMs. That's engine hours, or what is that?
Yep, that's engine hours.
And then engine temperature. This is mag. What's the bottom one?
That's exhaust gas temperature.
Okay.
This is, well, now I have to think about that.
It sounds right, EGT. Oh, I guess they're both EGT.
Yeah, I'm not sure what PTO. I think that's oil temperature, but we've got oil temperature over here. I'm not sure what that is. I wonder if there's two EGT gauges and there's two cylinders getting monitored, but I'm not sure what PTO. I'll have to ask Larry about that. So here's cylinder head temperature over here, 156, and there must be some issue with the left. Oh, this is telling us it's showing us the left mag, or the left EGT and the right EGT. So
gotcha.
It's flipping back and forth there. And here's our oil temperature and oil pressure.
Okay.
And that was what the checklist was telling you to look at right away, is make sure that the oil pressure.
We want it coming up.
Yeah, you want to see oil pressure within 5 or 10 seconds after startup, and if you don't, then shut it off.
Okay. So we got to move choke forward to close, run engine until oil temperature rises 124 degrees.
And we're sitting here longer than I like. What I tell everybody to do, and down there is no different here, it'd be the same way. As soon as we get this thing started up, I like to move forward up to the end of the hangar row at least. And in this case, you're sitting right next to the FBO. There's lots of traffic that comes through this gate. So let's roll up here and we'll see if there's a better place to sit. So we've checked oil pressure is really all we want to do before we move.
Okay.
Then let's move and get to someplace that's a little bit safer, because we can't see anybody coming from behind us.
Right.
The advantage these guys have down all these taxiways is they probably know there's nobody behind them.
Right, but they don't have cars coming in the gate.
Right. So go ahead and turn the brake off.
Brake off.
Right hand up here to run the brake. And then you don't need much throttle here, so we're just going to roll up and then just use a little bit of brake as you need to.
A little bit of brake pressure,
yeah.
Okay, I can feel that.
Yeah, a brisk walk is the typical speed that you'll hear people describe for how fast should we taxi. So it's a brisk walk. Make sure you smile for Larry.
Star 335, Mike Echo, taxiing.
Okay, and stop right here. So now we've done a couple of things that are good for us. We can see this windsock out here now. We can probably see one way over there somewhere. We hunt for it. We can see that airplane sitting down there. We can try to figure out what he's going to do. We can see the flags, which is also a really good wind indicator down there.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it's looking like a...
And we've got somebody down there taxiing, and I didn't hear...
Star 335, Mike Echo, crossing runway TC4 at Bravo.
So he's going to 36. I know that because he's crossing runway 22.
Okay.
That means he's not going to use 22.
449er Sierra is taxiing from the northern Keys, Star 36.
And that guy, that's who that was.
He's taxiing runway 22.
He's going to go to 36, so he's going to come right here past us.
Okay.
So we'll wait for him, and we'll just follow him around.
We got busy all of a sudden around here.
Must be a flight breakfast somewhere today. So let's get back to your checklist while we're waiting on him. Go ahead.
Put the brake back on.
Put the brake back on. And when you do that, since you were holding it, that probably locks it, but you'll see everybody reach down there and just kind of do that. They're just making sure that there's pressure in the system so that we're not going to move.
Okay.
Parking brakes are kind of unusual in airplanes, I guess I would say. That most of the airplanes have them, but most pilots don't use them. So when you start using it, and in this airplane, that's fine. I don't have a problem with it. But
it seems like it'd be easier if you had toe brakes, because then your hands are free, but you always have one hand busy.
The thing about parking brakes, and it doesn't matter that it's hydraulic or however it works, is that it can distract you, and you're looking in here at the checklist, and you won't know if you're moving or not.
Right.
Until you start feeling the bumpiness from the grass because we've made it that far.
And then
it's like, where the hell am I now? What happened?
Yeah.
So make sure you're aware that that's an issue that you need to, because it's known that that valve can fail. So.
Okay, that's good to know.
Make sure you just don't blindly rely on that thing.
Run engine to oil temperature 124, so we're at 129.
Any traffic?
Switch on additional instruments.
So I did a bunch of that stuff for you. I got the socket on. You can plug in your camera thing if you want to.
Okay.
I don't know. Is that thing, you got it running or not?
It is, I believe so, yeah, it's running.
All right.
This won't be in the way of the throttle, you don't think?
No, I don't think you'll have a problem with it. If you do, we'll find out about it right away.
Yeah.
It's going to be in the way, but I don't think it's going to be an issue.
Well, and it's just for additional power. It'll run on its own for a while.
What's going to happen is you're probably going to end up unplugging it because you move something and it's just going to come out of the socket. Okay. So it would be more of a concern for me if it was running some critical component like the GPS or some other thing that you thought you needed to fly the airplane.
We don't need this.
Yeah. So if it comes unplugged, don't worry about it.
Okay. Okay, perform mag check on both ignition circuits at 4,000 RPM.
Okay, and at that point, they haven't really divided it up, but that's pre-takeoff.
We would do that at run-up?
Yeah, so we'll wait and do that when we get to the runway.
Okay.
So at that point, I think we're done here. Let's go ahead and we'll make a radio call, and we'll follow that guy.
Okay.
And I'll run a radio for you today unless you want to do it.
You can do it and I'll listen to learn it.
All right. So what we're going to do is make an announcement that we're taxed into the runway. So it's going to be, there's 4 elements in all radio transmissions. It's where we're at, or who we're talking to, is Ankeny traffic.
Okay.
And then who we are, we're CT 412 Lima Charlie.
So you use CT instead of flight design?
You do it either way.
Okay.
I don't care.
CT's shorter and easier.
If you're talking to an approach controller, they're probably going to want to know that it's a flight design.
Okay.
But in this scenario, it doesn't matter. You wouldn't even have to say CT. You could just say 2 Lima Charlie. Or Flight Sport Lima Charlie. Anything just to get the word out that what we are, and the third part of it is what we're doing. So we're taxiing from the T's to runway 36, and where we're doing it is at Ankeny.
Okay.
And that's the part that's kind of it's nitpicking, but the first part is Ankeny traffic. That's who we're talking to. And the last part of it is where we are doing whatever it is we're doing. Ankeny.
Just in case somebody outside of here hears it, they don't.
They're very similar, Ankeny traffic and Ankeny. And you'll hear a lot of guys at the end say Ankeny traffic. You don't need the word traffic at the end because it's just where we're doing it. Ankeny.
Okay.
Ankeny traffic, 2 Lima Charlie, taxi from the T's to 36 Ankeny. That's it. And I should have showed you, and we should have looked here, when you press that button, it's going to show TX. To tell us that we were transmitting.
Okay.
So turn the brake off and use the brake, and let's turn to the right and follow that stuff.
So turn to the right is using rudder and
so just right rudder. So you have to push on pretty firm.
Right to right and left to left.
Yep.
Pretty simple.
And hang on to that stick. And for taxiing on the runway or on the ground, we need to know which way the wind is blowing. And we want to dive away from the wind, so keep your hand on there.
Oh, okay.
And we're just trying to keep the airplane more stable on the ground so that if we get a big gust, that we don't get tipped up or out of control because the wind's pushing us. So it's more important when the wind is behind you.
Hard to focus on I'm doing brake or rudder.
It's going to be rubbing your head, patting your head and rubbing your belly, learning how to run a handbrake and steering with your feet. You're going to be real tempted to try to steer with this thing, and it's not going to do it on the runway.
I'm trying to get us back to the center line here.
So what we're doing with aileron and elevator control is we're by pushing left, it's putting this aileron down.
Putting that wing down because the wind.
Yeah, so the wind is blowing across the top of that wing, hitting the top of that aileron, and that's better. If we had it this way, it could get underneath of that aileron and lift that wing up. So
it potentially would flip the plane if it was windy.
Right, so we want to lean the ailerons to the left, and we want to push forward. That's going to tip the elevator or the stabilizer down, so the same thing happens there when it hits the top of that. I think you can come my way another 2 or 3 feet.
Okay.
The right wheel over here is on the line, and you want the nose wheel on the line.
All right, is that better there?
Still probably not quite there, but I'm not going to badger you too much.
Okay. Well, it's tough because it feels like the line is, well, not now, but it did feel like the line was on my side.
The thing about this airplane is that this small curved console is a real, what's the right word there? It's an optical illusion, basically.
Yeah.
That it's causing you to, that curve causes it,
makes everything look like
a lot flatter.
So that's why Lou put that tape there.
Yep.
A little out of whack here.
You can come back over on the line now if you want. We're just going to curve and go that way. Traffic to the Charlie crossing 422. And look both ways here. Make sure there's anybody coming.
So do we need to hold short of the runway to